this morning's live. A couple of cool things going on this morning. We get to watch not only the metals market, but also what's going to happen in cryptocurrency. We talked a lot yesterday about certain levels that we wanted to push past. Although we thought that we could have a nice little push up here, we don't know if it's going to play out. So far, so good. XDC has had a little bit of a continuation here, which is a great sign. But nothing major's happened yet. We'll see if we can start pushing up and out. 4 hourly got bought up pretty quickly. But in this regard, it feels like, what the hell is going on here? But it feels like we have a little bit of potential here. Obviously, it's the start of the morning. So we want to, pay attention to what's going on with the USA waking up and things like that. But we're at a point where we had so much liquidation that it makes sense to come up to some of that top end liquidity. We talked about it yesterday, tried to get the community out ahead. I'm trying to spell it out in the hat what's going on so I don't have to say it. So I know it goes backwards, but I think if you don't have to focus on what I'm doing and it's spelled out for everybody, I think it makes it a little bit easier. So take a nice hard look at that this morning. Good morning. 8:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, February 2nd, 2026. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. I feel like V-Chain's going to have if we do a 15, I think we're going to do, if we do a move here, it's going to be 10 or 15% like that across the board. Like the whole market's going to pick up some of this liquidity. If not, you would see an opposite reaction. And then if we lost like that $1, $1.50 would be brutal. We double bottomed around $1.53. Proved the $1.56 as support as of right now. So that's a good sign this morning. These are all good signs. We'll look at the proactive approach here as well. 18,400 XRP traders, and this is the risk of leverage. Imagine XRP's up 3.8%. Well, just in the last 24 hours, we thought yesterday was bad. Today we have 18,400 XRP traders fully liquidated. Retail loses the equivalent of 40 million XRP tokens valued at 61.3 million. And that was in 24 hours. So now what's happened is that a lot of retail, once again, we lose these tokens, and it's a shame because now retail loses the hold of these tokens is the bottom line, and it goes into the exchange's pocket. So I believe that the exchanges, their reserves are built off of the liquidations out of retail that comes through leverage. That's my own personal belief. It may or may not be true, but I believe that's how the exchanges get their reserves. It's a big conspiracy, in my opinion. What's the other thing? The other thing this morning is volatility. We've got a lot of volatility that comes into silver right now, down 6.2%, which is a good sign if we want to have money moving. Gold being down 3%, good sign. What we would like to see is the miners dump another 7 to 10% today, so that the sound money starts to say, why am I putting this stuff in risk off when I could get land-based and risk on in crypto? But if it goes my way, it's a much sweeter reward. That's what we want. So hopefully this morning, that's what we get. Yeah, I know it sucks. It there's nothing I can do about that. The picture size is way too small. So this one will probably be returned and I'll probably get a different one. Let's see. Just had a YouTube glitch, tried watching this feed and got waiting for XRP, bunch of others waiting. I log in and out and found the feed. Interesting. Always something weird going on in my station. Mrs. Stott, welcome in. And Hope Botanicals, Mr. Stott. Thank you all for being in Tom's Run for 3+ months with the XP Meteor along with Bounce Back. Much appreciated. Dan Marginal and Garbanzo along with William Hayes. Thanks for being in Tom's Run 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. We'll go through the chart. We'll go through the targets and what needs to happen for this to continue to play out. Right now we've come outside of this pattern. And if we continue moving on, the logical movement, and it would end up being in a rather overbought scenario in the short term. And you'd be playing off of more like the daily, being so overbought or oversold. And now it looks like it's rounding a bottom. So you had boom, down, rounding. This could almost be the push now. This would make sense to be the push because even if we want to go lower, you still have to flush now the short liquidity. They're getting a little too comfortable. Lots of shorts are being taken out. Lots. Lots of shorts. So, like I said yesterday, like I think a lot of the people in the audience said, I think a lot of your feelings yesterday were in agreement that we could bounce out here hot to start the week. So now we need to see if we can survive what comes, you know, to start the morning in the USA. But right now, I would not be sweating it. I'd be sweating it if you were like, I'm not in a position or I'm in a position and I want to sell or buy. If you're on, you know, but if you're in or you're out comfortably, you just keep observing. You keep watching. If you're a swing trader, if you're a leverage trader, it's different. If you're somebody who's just trying to find a spot where you can buy for your best bang for the dollar, you know, that's going to have to be up to where you and your interpretation lies. One of my outliers right now is just the fact that XDC just it pushed out of here. XDC seems to be the outlier. And if this continues, XDC is going to work itself up, back up into this upper range. And we've been severely undervalued for some time, especially in XDC. So if it's going to lead the charge here, because this is the second step. The other tokens are on the first step. So right now it looks like, again, XDC is leading the way. And now it's going to take us into a little bit of an upward moment. We broke out of that descending, broadening wedge that we talked about. We talked about the difference between this so we had a descending, broadening wedge. And then what was the other question yesterday? Was it a bearish megaphone or a megaphone to the downside? I can't remember what the question was. It was from Mr. Stott. It really could fit. It really could fit inside the freaking, it could. It's so small. That's the only thing that I don't like about it. But, you know, it could be worse. Could be worse. I like the other one better. Yeah, a lot of economic numbers this week. Tons of them. It's basically what this whole week's going to be about. I shared that in the Telegram for anybody who's in there. I did put that down. Oh, yeah. It's, I can definitely tell that it's a lot. It doesn't fill the whole head up, so they put this little strip. So that's what I don't like. That's why I don't like this one. Yes, the descending wedge and the descending megaphone. And if anybody wasn't there, let me put this how it ends up being now. If we're gonna try to break out of this, this would be like the overexpanded area. And then I'm trying to see something real quick. I want to see if it's trying to tell us something. Nah, that wasn't wide enough. That wasn't wide enough, unfortunately. I was looking for that to be a little bit wider of a gap area. We might have been able to make something of that, but that's okay. Because I don't feel comfortable going like that, I don't think. Although, if we did play that angle, that does give us a legitimate upside. I almost want to do that now that we broke out of that smaller area that we were waiting for. Yeah, look, I'm doing it. We'll play it just like that. Then we'll put this to the test because then we could have a rally from down here, and then it would still be bearish unless it broke over this area. I kind of like that, actually. Because we have to have parameters here, and it's giving us parameters, so why argue it? Let's see from where we're at. It's about 13%. We've already, so that would have been about a 24% movement that it pushed up. Interesting. Oh, it's my circle. Oh. I can't make the circle any bigger though, unfortunately. Whoops. This is as big as YouTube allows me to do it. They'll let me go this small. Doesn't feel so big now or so small now, does it, Mr. Stott? Now this could truly fit inside of a shoe. Or inside of a pin. But yeah. They don't let me make this bigger than I have it for some reason. I wish it would just let me do it the way I want, but you know, it won't. I feel like it almost looks better like this. I almost feel like it looks better like this, even though it's so small. But yeah, that's kind of what we could. I mean, seems nice to me. That's a expanding, broadening wedge to the T. But yeah, and then it'll only let me go like this, Mr. Stop, for some reason. I can't tell. Is that bigger than it? Was it smaller this morning? Yeah, it was smaller. Is that bigger than it? I think so. I don't know. Maybe it was smaller than it was supposed to be, or maybe it's just maybe it's just. Actually, for some reason, I feel like this circle is bigger than it was. If that's the case, I'm glad we just did that. So that's XDC. I know we're all waiting for XRP. XRP at $1.64. Starting to make its movement. Breaking outside of this descending consolidation. And we're coming up to that first resistance, the real resistance area that we still have a little bit more to go, which we will. Eventually, we'll get up to that 168-ish. Mrs. Stott, it's bigger now? Okay, perfect. So somehow I must have reset lower. That's excellent. See, now it looks good. I can tell. Maybe that's what was weird. Maybe that's why it was so hard to see. But this is where we have to break past this little setup that we had on the breakdown that we started measuring. This is what we have to break past. That's that $1.68-ish. And then ultimately we're going to try to push past that $1.83. For anybody in here, I'm excited because the classes start today as well at 12 o'clock. I did about 3 hours setting up the first lesson, which is overkill because we're not gonna have that much time. We're gonna end up having to do things over. But anyhow, I'm excited for it, so we'll see. I'll be looking forward to it. I see standard operating procedure here this morning right now. I see nothing right now that makes me think that we can't continue here. We have 101 people in here. 53 people hit the like button. As Mrs. Stott said, don't disappoint her. Well, half of you have hit the like button. Obviously, I don't know if the content was strong coming out of the gate. I think it's okay. But we're kind of in the, not the wait and see, but we're in that consolidation moment of the morning. But coming here this morning, this is what I wanted to see after yesterday. This is what I wanted to see. Something like this. If we're going to have this short-term move. And we're looking really for that move back up to $1.76. And the reason why that level makes a lot of sense, the futures market, it closed right around that area, but it had a very big down to open. But look how over sold it was in the 4 hourly. This may not end up being a bear flag. This may end up invalidating this and coming up to at least retest the drop here, because that's a noticeable gap area from Friday. So I think that's the point of contention if we can make the push up, and then we'll decide. It was somewhere up there. What was it at? Or maybe it was yeah, I think it was $1.75 area. Alpha says the first thing I do is hit the like button. Excellent. I appreciate that. Silver Days, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty Autos Crypto News. And I appreciate all the members of Tom's Army. A special shout out for sponsoring this very program and allowing us to do this ad-free during the lives and without sponsorship outside. So I appreciate that. Really do. So yeah, so going across the board right now, we have IOTA's up 4.3%, Algo's up 3.1%, others 1.65%, so nothing major. You know, we're just looking for that push up and more than likely rejection, but even for here, the total, the others would suggest a retest of the drop point, and that should put us around 191 billion. It's not crazy, but it's 7 billion up from here, which could be another roughly 4%, roughly 3.7%. So that's still trying to come up to that upward tug. You've also got this, the total should come up and retest the break point at 817 if this plays normal. So that gives it about 55 billion if it plays properly. So that would give it about that could be as much as a 10, well, not a 10, well, maybe that could be close to a 10% total movement if that played out appropriately. No, it wouldn't. What am I talking about? That's like a 3% move. Where are we at? I was looking at the others again. 1.3%. You're looking at about 817 from 7. That's like 54 billion. You got about 1.3% every 10 billion. That's about a 6%, another 5%, 6%. That would be interesting if we played back up like that. That would definitely give us the room that I'm seeing for them to break to the top side. Oh, I don't like that at all. What the hell kind of setup was that at the end? Oh, because we went back. Never mind, I do like that. TradingView just screwed it over. Okay. I know what we were doing there, but we don't need to do it anymore. I'm looking for the back test now. Nothing more, nothing less. So this has, and it bounced off support. That's the thing. This bounced off the support level. So before you go down to the next layer, it'd be logical to come up here and retest. And there's plenty of room in the total in the 4 hour. And the volume's coming in a little bit. 2.78 trillion. We're at about 2.6. Gives us some room there too. There's a little bit of room here. So hey, it's okay. I would probably forget to hit the like button too. No. Well, not now, because I know the importance, but only because I have to deal with it every single day. But if you come in here every day, it's like you're not thinking about that when you come in. You're thinking about engaging, being part of the show. I get that. That's why I like when the audience talks about it and not me. And they're like, hit the like button. Only so many of you guys have hit the like button. But we're doing fine. This morning we're doing fine. And even on these back test overextensions, he's perfectly ran into it. We had 17.7. It obviously didn't hit over here. It hit over here, but we came down to 16.9, even better. Some good opportunities for just a really, a weird trade. Nothing goes without risk, though, folks. No guts, no. I talked about it yesterday. Sometimes you got to fish in the seas of the blood. Sometimes if you're not willing to get a little bit of grime or a little bit of dirty, it's going to be a problem. I don't know how many of you were in here yesterday, but I talked about how Jim Cramer talked about I was going to do this and that, and I said, well, I think it's going to do this. Remember when I drew that out for us? Would you be surprised that it hit exactly that number before reversing? I'm just curious. Was anybody in here when I actually drew this? It's almost remarkable that it hit exactly there. That's the exact number that this is. I didn't move anything. This is where I put it yesterday. And it was a pretty nice little sweep there. I thought we were going to sweep and do something like that. Now, that I don't know if it's going to continue out, but it definitely gave us that first reversal. Now, if it comes down from here, it would be a fake out. Good morning, Crypto Cooter. Nothing really. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. Just the optics here of how we get out of this. As long as XRP now stays over now, could we come down this morning and do a quick reversal? I hope not. I hope we don't drop all the way to 159 because then it brings out the optic of now are we just going to fall back in. What I want to see here is a quick push to the 200 at $1.72. And I want them to catch retail off guard. That's what I think's happening right now. Retail's drinking their coffee, taking their piss, and like, wait a minute. What's going on here? And then if it happens enough, just like the opposite effect in the mornings, they don't have time to react. And then they're like, oh, it's just going to come back down. And then it goes up another 2% or another 3%. One of the good signs that I seen, not only the heat liquidity map, how it filled out so much to the bottom, was excuse me, this is a family-friendly show. It was beautiful the way that it cleared out all of the downward momentum and left all of the upward momentum. I want to do the crypto fear and greed index. Oh, and I've been up all night, so that's another caveat here. My son's home. It was just a long night. He's fine. He hasn't missed a day of school for the unusual. So today was an unusual. So he's sleeping right now. But I got like 2 hours of sleep and I've been up since like, I don't know, 1 in the morning. No. 12? 1? I put it to good use. Put it to good use. Just go get your bagel and it shouldn't. Good old bagel gate. See? Oh, I love it. Look at the extreme fear right now. That's another good sign. Like, it hasn't moved. Even last week it was at 20. On the drop here, legitimately at that $1.50. And then we talked about it if it came back down there and bottom somewhere near there, like that was the area for XRP, would be a spot to take a shot. For a short term if you were going to. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, but if you're looking at taking shots, there's ways to go about it if you're trying to get in a trade or if you're trying to make some movement. There's other times when, but, now is this the whole move now? Well, we certainly hope not. We've broken out in a certain sense. We're looking for XDC to bring us home now. XLM's up 4%. XDC's up 4%. Personally, what I'm looking for is this to knock our socks off. I'm looking for an unexpected 15% quick hitter. What I'm looking for out of VeChain, hadn't done Shishka hasn't done anything lately. I'm expecting to see like oh my God, it's up 13% all of a sudden here. Now, is it going to happen? Who knows? But that's what I feel like we're trying to do. Because now nobody believes it's going to happen in retail. Retail's just sitting there going, oh, well, we're just going to keep going down. Perfect time to go up. Somebody messaged me yesterday. They go, Tom, I don't care what you say about the hat. You're trying to tell us it doesn't mean anything, but all of a sudden you put the hat on yesterday, and now we start this reversal. And it's like, well, that's just market. I feel more comfortable with the hat on when I know it's gonna. Well, when it feels there should be when it's gonna potentially make the push up. I just happen to have better hair days apparently when the market's gonna go down. That's all. It's nothing more, nothing less. We cooked QE. Was our only hope. The new Fed chair hates QE. I'll ask you guys a question about that. Do you think that's optics? Do you think Trump, with all of the big talk, do you think they would actually put somebody in who wouldn't do quantitative tightening? Or do you think this is a psyop? It's a good question. I don't know really which way to look at it. I don't think he's the good choice for us personally when it comes to what he wants to do with digital dollar and things like that. But that's another story for another day. But I mean, what do we always say around here all of a sudden, or all the time now in crypto? Cautiously optimistic. Cautiously optimistic. It's all we can be. It's all we can be. It's all we can be. So I feel good about it this morning. Not even if it goes down, I feel good because the levels that we're marking out are playing out. So at least we know that the support, resistance, the formations are setting up properly. We're identifying them in real time. That's important. There's a lot of other things that go outside of just a trade or just a price or just your portfolio. There's so much stuff that goes. And some of you will be privy into seeing some of that as we get into the first day of our class. And it's an expansive look and it breaks things down. I did it in a three-way model, basically, a three-tier model, to where I'm talking about it, showing you, and then showing it deeper. And then I like to use real life examples. Oh man, I can't wait. It took me 3 hours to put this together because I'm so another 3 hours, I should say. But yeah, that hour is gonna go by so quick. It's gonna knock our own socks off. They will rename QE as liquidity injections. Oh, absolutely. 12 to 1 p.m. But if you can't make it, it's understandable. It'll be available immediately after to watch forever. And that'll be the first in the series. I'm gonna end up titling it something so that it's so that you can see it. But yeah. And then what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to get a check-in when we get in there, so that I can have what appears to be I want to have it separated between who's at the live attendees and who is actually going to be watching it after on repeat, so that we can have a little bit of communication if need be. So that's how the first few classes go when you're in class. But fortunately for you guys, I'll be teaching from Zoom, so it's not going to be a basic. You're going to be seeing me on a whiteboard as if I'm teaching you an online course. That's how I set it up. Through graphs and, well, I can't tell you what I did. You'll see. No, not graphs, not yet. Through different, you'll see. It's a beautiful thing. Oh, and if you're interested in that, there's in the video description below in our pinned comments, there's that for the classes. Or if you want to go to the Facebook page and join me on that venture, I would greatly appreciate it. What did we do? We had, I know yesterday was another good day. 413,000 views. I don't know how we're at $235 now. That doesn't even make sense because, oh, wait a minute. Did it add yesterday's? It had to have. Okay, never mind. I guess that added yesterday's. I didn't realize that. Oh, I guess I should have realized that. I don't know. I don't pay attention to this all that often. I'm more concerned about if people are seeing my stuff. Um, but yeah, that'll be nice. How to join the class? There's a link in the here. I'll show you. It's in this very live. There's a link. So if you come down here, if YouTube loads, and you just click where it shows up in the top right, it'll probably be like this. Just click where it shows my name highlighted on the pinned comment. Open it up, and then click on this on YouTube, and it'll send you to the membership tab. No, you're not sending me that. And then it'll be in the members only. So now I would have to upgrade mine for live classes, change level, upgrade because I believe in myself. And then you've seen the minus $6.36. That's because it prorates your monthly subscription and it knocks it off from the bottom line. So it might be $49.99, but if you just paid and you have $8 worth still left of that monthly membership, it'll knock off. You just seen it on mine, minus $6 and something cents. So if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you? So that's how you do it. That simple. If you're a member already. If you're not, you just have to hit upgrade. Yeah, twice a week. Twice a week. There'll be 2 hours a week, 8 hours a month. I'm thinking I'm going to talk to the class, but Monday, and I want to know if people want it on Wednesday or if they want to do it beginning of the week, end of the week. You know, kind of thing. I was thinking maybe a Monday and a Wednesday because then you get the repetitiveness. You know, you get the Monday, Wednesday, and then if it ever comes to it, maybe on Fridays we could just have a discussion. You know, on Fridays, maybe it's an hour to kind of go over what we went over, but not with any kind of information in front of us, just us talking. You know, just us talking, going over the vibe, going in, you know, maybe some of the concerns about things, because there's always going to be concerns, you know, kind of like you do it in a regular classroom where you go over it and you try to figure the proper approach out with who you have involved and how many people are there. So, but anyhow, we can't talk about that here anymore. I don't want to take up too much time. So with Bitcoin, it's going to be interesting. Bitcoin's got a lot of room in the 4-hourly. I'll say that much. Bitcoin's got a lot of room. Looks like it put in a bottom here. And I think it's not it might be a local bottom. I think it's going to come up. It should come up to 81,600. I know it seems crazy, but in time, that's where it's starting. That's where it wants to go. That's where it wants to go. I'm not afraid to say it. It's just that's where it wants to go. And that, I mean, we've exhausted ourselves to the downside for some time. We should be coming up to that resistance. Just like gold, silver should keep going down today. Mining stocks, they don't look so bad today, but they're going to probably get clobbered today. They give you the false illusion on the open, but they're probably going to get clobbered. MicroStrategies was taking it up to you-know-what in pre-market. That might end up being something. Bitmine's taking it up to you-know-what because it's paying the dues from the weekend. But I'm telling you, this guy, MicroStrategy, this pile of junk, they are at an ominous point because if crypto does make a 10 or 15% move from here across the board, let's just say it does to the up direction, because in all reality, it doesn't have to happen in 2 seconds, but in all reality, there is that siphoning loop that was going to the downside. And now you just might find it going to the opposite side all of a sudden. And people are going to say, well, why did it start doing that? Does it for a reason. Keeps retail dejected. Dejected. Rejected. Think about it. It's true. So now you look at opportunity. Well, I mean, if Ethereum's actually going to run, opportunity is slapping us in the face with Bitmine. Crypto is dying. Happy Fox. Oh, I know that. It's called the Clarity Act. I've been talking about it forever. You can't give regulations to an unregulated market, otherwise it goes goodbye-bye. and at least in the sense that you were used to it. But this is the again the way that retail is talking right now. They act like there's zero shot with where it's at. That's what gave a lot of us confidence too. That when it went down into the low $1.50, because XRP's up 10 cents right now from that last hit yesterday. It's up 13, almost 14 cents from the low. So, now you could get the opposite reaction of dejection, because now people are going to go, oh my God, I'm buying it and it doesn't go up. I sit on the sidelines after I get crushed and then it goes up. Then the moment I take a breath, it's going to go down. This is not cool. I don't know what to do. Yada, yada, yada. And the whole thing repeats itself over and over and twice and every time. There's so much. It just repeats itself. This whole cycle, it's a never-ending loop. It is a never-ending loop. I'm just throwing out these statements to stimulate thought. Yeah, I like the stimulating thought. It gives me something to respond to outside the charts. I like what you're doing. I like that kind of stuff. Gives everybody a reason to think. Beyond what we might have even thought. So the question for everybody, can Bitcoin come to 81? You know my thoughts. I didn't hold anything back. So I asked the audience the same thing. Can Bitcoin, make a move? I believe it can. I do believe it can. It won't be easy. Nothing's going to be easy about this, but I think with due process and due dedication, we can find ourselves to a nice little upside here. Purely because we overextended ourselves at the downside. And in my opinion, we had a little bit of capitulation to the downside, and I showed the layers. Now, it's not, I don't know if it's completely done, but like I said, this would be a good spot to at least make an attempt for, well, not from exactly here, but where we rotated. And now we're trying to have the continuation today. H bar is making me happy, up 5.7%. It's one of them that's starting to try to push up. H bar should come up. And the first area we're going to look at is about 9.87 cents. So like I said, there's still another 5 to 7 or 6% there. So I would not be surprised to see a 10 to 15% movement here across the board. Like everything we look at, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, 10. Like I said with VeChain, I'm almost convinced that we're going to all of a sudden look and blink at some moment and it's going to be back up at 9.5 and you're going to say, holy crap. Or 9.2, something like that. It's going to be up 15% or something. To be clear, though, would this just be another relief rally before going back down? Yes, but there's optics to this, because this relief rally, depending on how we do this, in theory, and we were talking about it yesterday, me and Nick in the live, that we could actually come all the way back up to $2.90 to make the right shoulder. Or we can come up higher. Because in theory, you come up here and shoulder, head with these kind of patterns, a shoulder, head, shoulder. It might even bring you up all the way to, somewhere in here. But realistically, it could bring you up into a pattern like that out of nowhere, even if it's bearish, because it ends up exhausting everything. So we've had a drop down. We never tested this drop, ever. From up here, we have never come back up. So that $3 area is a gap. Big one. So if you want to talk gaps, there's a big gap over there. Yep, and retail is convinced either 69, but I see a lot of people talking 40 and 30K, but 69 was a big thing that's being talked about on social media. I know that much. But, they don't often wait for for the obvious target. I thought 74.5 was the area. That was my own predicament. I waited for 74.5 for that move on Bitcoin to do what I wanted to do deeper. So that was my point of contention. I said if it does exactly what I drew here, I got no remorse. And since it did, I went with that. It went at 74.5. It did exactly what in my own scenario for the retest back up. I thought we had to, exhaust this wick because it was up here. Remember, it was acting like it was going to come up here. It was right here. But then it rotated down after we ended the live, like I thought it would. And now we're back up, retaking this resistance, which was that top wick. So if we can stay over 78, I think that's what's happening. Obviously I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not a wizard. So it could go down here as well because there is, a lot of downward momentum. So it's fascinating to watch this in real time. If you're just coming in, the sad news of the day, 18,400 of our fellow XRP traders ended up fully liquidated today in the past 24 hours. That loss totaled $61.3 million, equivalent to retail losing and handed the exchange 40 million XRP tokens. Yesterday was 28.6. So in 2 days, retail has effectively gotten liquidated out of the value of 68.6 million XRP tokens that they just gave the exchange. It's disgusting. It's disturbing. And it's a trend that needs to end. It's a trend that needs to end. Ooh, I gotta feed my squirrel friends. Hold on. They're all out. Hold on, my squirrel friends are out there. I wonder if you guys can see them. I think you can. Oh yeah, you can definitely see them. Hello, my friend. Sorry about that, but they needed their food. Hey everyone, sorry I'm late. Hit that like. Consider subscribing and joining Comms for the best technical answers on YouTube every day. You are not in the Telegram, you're missing out. Why wait? Thank you for that define. Very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. Or should I say of the community as a whole. Very vital for what we do here. Now, let's talk about the obvious. If it goes down here and we don't get our way and it doesn't go up and all of this just breaks down, well, if this does go in that way, it would be tricky because then you'd fall back within here. $1.60 would break, more so like $1.61. We've already hit this uptrend, trying to break out. You do not want to get back in this pattern because this is not what the pattern is. That was just if it fell down, we were projecting. Right now, you're dealing with this, a nice little breakout here. And what we're trying to do is get up here to retest this drop point, in my opinion. So, like with everything else I showed, that's where I think XRP's taking aim, if we can get up there. I feed them a lot of stuff. Right now, I have unsalted peanuts. But I put seeds out there for the birds. And then there's stuff mixed, like you'll see the squirrel right here. I don't know if you can see him. Now you can because I'm not in the view. See him running away. He just grabbed a peanut. That is Lamar. Every black squirrel that runs by us is Lamar. Every brown squirrel is Walter. Everyone that's brown and red is Ruby. And then we have Half-Tail got injured and only got a half-tail. We've got one that's got like really weird like gray like hairs and stuff. So, but yeah, there's a couple of them. I had to bury a few of them because they got hit by cars, unfortunately, over the years. Which sucks. They're like my little babies. And then the crows. The crows have been hanging out. They've been talking to me. So you got to make sure they're your friends because the crows can actually send through. And I'm not joking. It's kind of crazy. Through facial recognition, they can send through their bloodlines from generation to generation what you look like. So they'll come back and they bring groups and like they're mean if they're not your friends. So you got to be their friends. So I always talk to them. I'm like, hey, here's some peanuts. You know, we're friend. I'm like, friend. I'm friend. So now there's like 6 of them that come. So now when they're going, ah, you know, trying to get your attention to like, it's like, oh crap, I better have a peanut. Otherwise they're going to think I'm tricking them. But that's neither here nor there. 45 minutes in. Wow. It's already been 45 minutes. That is incredible. I don't think I have to thank anybody. Oh, thank you, XRP Future Millionaire, for upgrading to the live classes. It's good to know you'll be there. Excellent. Yeah, I don't have to say anything else. Nothing else going on here. I wonder if raccoons do that. I don't know. Wildlife has hit the window yet. So we're bullish. Yeah, don't you mind? That was crazy the one day when I think it was at $1.94 last week. And we're like, the market doesn't look good. And we're looking for a sign. And we're just like, let's see what kind of sign we get today. And then all of a sudden, 2 freaking birds flew into the window right behind us back to back. They didn't kill themselves, but it was literally back to back. Uh-oh, speaking of the birds, here comes the mourning doves, and they're pretty dumb. I love these little guys, but they're the dumbest. But that's, unfortunately, here, let me move so you can see maybe. Yeah. But the mourning dove, when me and Julie opened our door, it flew into our screen door, into the glass, and it broke its neck. And I put it in a box, and unfortunately it died. I had to watch it, but I was telling it I was there for it. You're not alone. It's not your fault that you flew into the door. I'm missing something. Keep clicking link for class. Could you? Oh. Yeah, for you, bounce back because you're already a member. You just have to, when that link opens up, you just have to hit upgrade. When it pops up, it should say upgrade. It should just say upgrade. That's what I did in real time. How I clicked the upgrade button because I was already a member of Tom's Army. But there's an upgrade button. See on the right side over here? When you come into here, there's an upgrade right here. So, that's how you have to do it. And then you have to go to the live class one. You don't see any upgrade button. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. For whatever reason, there's been some people have had issues. Some people have said they had to cancel the subscription and then re-sign back up. But yeah, you have to go over, if it's not working like that, you can try doing it manually. It's under the members only section. Which is if you go to the page, you just go to the membership tab. And then it should show up, like, see how it says upgrade there, because there's still other memberships. So anyhow, I would try it on a laptop, or like, in like my tablet, because the way the tablet is, yeah, it's not technically a computer, but a lot of the stuff is set up that way. Now, some of the apps you don't get the full functionality, but as far as it goes for this case, it still acts the same as a desktop. I've never had any issues, so I didn't even know there was a pricing discrepancy and all that stuff until people told me over the years. That, like, Apple charges more. I haven't seen any difference in the Google Play Store on mine, but that doesn't mean it's not different for everybody else. Any other questions and stuff? Good morning, I just got on. What time does class start and will we get a notification? 12 o'clock, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, you'll get a notification because I'm going to start at like 15 minutes early, but it's not going to be being taught. It's going to be there. You're going to see the live setup. so that you know when you come in that it's going to be starting. You need to cancel your current membership, wait until it's over, then sign up. Huh. Is that the way you have to do it? I don't know if you have to wait until... I didn't know you had to wait until that month would be over. I didn't know that part. Maybe he has to just go on his desktop, hopefully, desktop browser, but anyhow. Bitcoin 77,800 right now. This is that morning time we were talking about having to survive this if this is going to pan out. This is the part it's going to have to survive. There's no two ways about it. There's going to be this. It's right at that time of the day too, almost on routine. Man, that... I am just hoping, not hoping, but I'm beyond hope that this doesn't rotate on us, because if it does, and it doesn't hold the structural support, I don't really want to have to deal with everybody going ballistic if it breaks to the downside, you know, in a quick fashion. But you know the levels, you know what we're looking at, you know if it breaks past a certain point that it's a problem. So we know what we're looking at, so that is not a surprise. I waited for 4 days, then the button appeared. That is so weird. I wonder why that happens. I really do. I wonder why that stuff always happens. Some weird stuff all the time. And we're cautiously optimistic because it's crypto, and right now, you know, the trend is not our friend. And every conceivable move seems to be another slap in the face. Now, this hit the 20-day. So this is your logical back test right now to see if we can push out. This is how it would have to happen. Now, am I thrilled about the volume? No, and that's been the problem. It's always been the problem. The volume just, it doesn't seem to be able to pull it from anywhere. And even with all of the drop downs we had, yeah, it's nice. XDC's 4.6, and it's nice that H-bar's up about 5%. Yeah, it is nice. But I would love to see some volume. If we could just get any volume could surge us, but we just haven't seen the volume. White House crypto meeting. Unreal. That'll probably drop. Now I have the button option on my phone. Strange indeed. Yeah, isn't that funny? How sometimes things, and it happens to me too when it comes to like the donation button and stuff. I'll notice some days isn't there, or they won't have the options to give subs or to do a super chat. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing with YouTube. I don't know, it's kind of like we're watching the market, but we're in this perpetual loop right now. No matter how even a tiny bit of confidence we could get, and we know it. The problem with the confidence is it's not like there's really no like, hey, this is why I feel good about this. It's just like we feel good until the first tap has happened. Can we get past here now? It's like, we're like on this never-ending sinking ship. Gen X says XRP decoupling for Bitcoin is coming sooner than later. Bitcoin can go to zero. People are catching on to real-world use. All about utility, just saying, friend up north. Thank you so much for that, Jen. I don't disagree with you. That day is going to come. I do not disagree with you. That day will come. And some days it's going to seem quicker than others. I mean, even this pattern we set up for Bitcoin is technically breaking out of it. We talked about this before, but This is just a projection. Overextension, we use this as another support. Now we could go, if we play this out farther, but then it plays into something different. We already have that covered. This is just short term. It's a nice baseline because now if we just come right back and fall through, well, obviously this was just a fake out. Which, until it proves otherwise, I mean, how could we even be surprised if it doesn't pan out all the way through? That's what sucks about this market right now. You know, normally when you're up 4.6 or something's up 4.8%, you're like, hey. But now you're like, okay, when's that final rejection? Such a shitty, it's just a weird spot to be in. Bitmine's down 10.3% in pre-market. That is crazy. Well, not crazy, but if that doesn't tell you something's not lining up. What do you think of that? Do you think Bitmine and MicroStrategies are going to reverse on the open? And this is just a Fugazi in the pre-market? Or do you think it's telling us what's about to happen with crypto and we're just going to rotate again? Back to the downside very quickly. One thing that I was very happy to see this morning, and any of you following oil like I am, WTI down 5.1%. I said, there you go, Tom. Not jumping the gun. Stay into what you're saying, even if it doesn't pan out. And now let's see what happens here. Platinum's down 1%, nothing major. PLG's up about 2%. It was up like 6% in pre-market, so that's come down a little bit. B2 Gold was up 2% in pre-market. Now it's down 1.22%. Gold's down 176. Silver was actually twice got over, but now it's back down 4.3% or almost $3.70 to 81.68. Heckler, after dropping 14.4% on Friday, it was up in pre-market. Now it's down almost 0.75%. First Majestic fell 17.2% on Friday, and now it's down 1.58% in pre-market. Fortuna was down 14.8%. Now it's down just under 1% in pre-market. You know, this could be a slaughter fest if this goes back down. If gold and silver goes down on the open, it's gonna be a slugfest. It's gonna be a slugfest. And now, you know, a lot of retail though, which is ironic. A lot of retail is looking at, you know, we're looking at the can't miss trade. They pulled their money, and I talked about it happened. A lot of people took their money, put it in crypto initially on the big top instead of putting it in gold, silver miners. They waited, then all of a sudden it got to a point, hyperbolic point, $100, $90, when people finally paid attention. Miners are up 4x, some 6x, some others 2x, 1x. And then they rotated. They said, I'm not going to spend my risk assets. And they put it into risk off just to get obliterated. It was ironic. You would have done better just, you know, not putting your capital into that and just tossing it into the dumpster and hoping for the best, that some of it found its way back to you. The height and top is not, it's universal. It doesn't matter if it's a risk on, risk off, gold, silver. It doesn't matter what it is. If something's over, if it runs too quick, too fast, that's what happens. Just like this is kind of like, okay, well, we fell too fast, too quick, and now this is just a rebuttal. Now we're in a rebuttal mode. Now that's a shame bounce back. I wish that there wasn't so many issues. But unfortunately, I can't get any help from YouTube on anything. They just tell me, oh, blah, blah, blah. They always say the same stuff. It's like a... Anyhow. I digress. So what do we think's going to happen while we're still here together? Because it's been an hour. I'm going to have to get going here. I got stuff I have to do. I want to see how my son's doing because he was asleep. But yeah. Here we are at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Pretty typical basic stuff here. Starts to pull down. Right when retail kind of gets their bearings. They're not sure what's going on. It seems like the same perpetual loop we're always in. I wish it wasn't this way, everybody. Trust me. I wish it wasn't this way. I can only get it going through YouTube. Yeah, I know it's not my fault. It's still no fun, though. You know, it's not. It's I don't know. There's a lot of things that bother me with the YouTube stuff because a lot of things on my channel seem to be messed up for a lot of people. The biggest thing is the notifications, but that's a universal thing. That's not just my channel. That's everybody. What about Ethereum? 1.5%, 3,300. Ooh. Seems to be, I mean, Bitcoin and Ethereum seem to have a little bit of room here just to at least run up here and at worst try to retest the 20-day. I mean, where it fell out, you would think that it would come up here. Well, you never think anything. But they often retest the drop point. So that could be a couple $100 move for Ethereum. The ironic part is like a lot of people that pride themselves on leverage trading, like the guru. He was in trades, then he was down 10 grand, sold the trade. Then he's buying it back when it goes down a couple times. It's like, I don't understand the strategy. Like if you're gonna keep buying, oh no, he ran out of margin, so it closed his position or something. I remember now. That's the other thing. You set up buys on the way down, which I think is just stupid in leverage, personally. Just by putting, setting up different buy orders along the way. Because what if, like for him, what ended up happening is it filled an order at 80, 78, 76, and by the time it got to like 74, it had run out of margin room because it picked up so many and he had extra capital so that it wouldn't, close his position. But because it picked up a couple along the way, he had less money sitting in the account. So he had less money to pull from in the cross margin. So it had nothing to feed from. So, I mean, he got stuck in a trap. But, I mean, $10,000 to him is like me and you losing $100. Yeah, it's not cool, but, that's like him losing, $100. He's a multi-millionaire. Venture capitalist and all that good stuff, so he does just fine. Just, it's a good heads up. Anyone worried about Trump's new Fed? Oh, of course. We talked about, that was one thing I talked about in real time when we figured out who it was. And I said, this is going to immediately drop the market. So we felt like that's what was going to happen Friday. But now, now would be the opportunity for the market to kind of sneak up on everybody. I'm telling you, this would be the time for it to sneak up. But I got to go, everybody. I want to go make sure Julie's doing good. I want to make sure I get stuff done. Huh? Oh yeah, prep. But yeah, I think we did a good job here. No donations, no nothing today, so I don't have to go over anything exclusive. But we're excited about what's coming, so. Bounce back, you found it? Oh, excellent. It was under renew subscriptions. There's a renew subscriptions button. Oh, so you found the live class button. Well, maybe that'll help some other people too. That's great. That is great. I'm just curious if all my stuff saved, Julie. Oh, because I was up all night, so now oh yeah, it certainly did. Good. Yeah, I'm about to end it right now. But thank you, everybody. Bitcoin back over 78. Just remember what we said in this live. Remember, if it does break to the bottom, the numbers. Remember the numbers if it breaks down. Other than that, be blessed. I'll see some of you in class at noon. And I really, really look forward to it. So thank you all so much. Hopefully we get this positive spin. Watch gold and silver to see if we do get the continuation still. And try to bleed the miners as it opens. because that usually is what happens if they want to bleed it. And then if we're going to get a reversal, it'll come afternoon. So we'll see if they go that route.